Hello everyone, Exilium here, and someone from the comments on the videos had showed me a link to this little guide here called the Platoon Leader's Handbook, kind of going through everything that kind of deals with the guild or platoon system within Girls Frontline 2. It also kind of gives an idea of what I am looking for when it comes to the people that I'm going to bring into the main guild under me, as well as potentially having to now make some sister guilds or platoons, because I've gotten actually quite a bit of interest. And right now, as soon as you start, there's only a cap of 24 players, and then you have to level up the platoon, which does take a lot of time to slowly unlock more slots. So I'm looking at having some other people run separate sister guilds to our platoon. They'll kind of follow the same rules we're having with my main one, and then we'll use those to funnel members into the main one as either people leave or as we level up and get more space within it with the cap. Now, the first thing is kind of taking a look at all the systems it has in it. The main thing we've already talked a lot of the main stuff, but in this guide he kind of gives what you want to consider yourself when it comes to your guild, whether it becomes casual, semi-competitive, competitive. And then there's two modes you want to look at in this as well. And so when it comes to mine, we're not going to the super competitive one. We're going to be more under the semi-competitive of trying to get that 5% in Gunm Smoke for all rewards. Now, the 5% might not happen right off the bat because I'm not going all in on trying to get super whales. But competitive is the one that's going to be the hardest to be. Now, there is the potential in the future we may shoot for competitive, but the hardest one's going to be getting to the top 100. I will not try and shoot for the top 1% because that seems like that's like the super whales, whole guilds full of whales. But it does look like it might be reasonably possible to hit the top 100 if you have a very active guild, and that is pretty much the main requirement of my guild, is that you are active daily and completing all the tasks that you can get in the guild. And so we're kind of like an in-between here. We're kind of starting out semi-competitive, but as time goes on, especially when we start getting more team member or getting more units out, and we have more people that end up spending that may not have blown everything on for like a Suomi V6. Like myself, for example, I only have a Suomi V1, but I do plan to V6 Kluke when she comes out, and V6 Springfield when she comes out. And so we might be waiting until around those time periods when we may shoot for that competitive run to try and get to the top 100. We'll just kind of have to see how it goes and how many whales / upper spenders I can get in at the beginning. We'll just kind of have to see there. Now, one of the things it mentions here is for the 5% up and up. They're saying it's very crucial to have the V6 person to borrow supports from due to the advantage you have over 95% of the other guilds. This is a borderline requirement in CN for the 5%, although it will depend overall level of the platoon's population, of course. So we have a much bigger a group of people coming into this than CN had. CN had a lot of drama in the beginning that probably hurt it quite a bit in terms of how many guilds they have. So top 5% may be a little bit easier on the English side because we may have a lot more guilds that are more casual. And that might make it a little bit easier to actually get that 5%, although it might make it harder to get that top 100 because now you have a lot more competitive guilds. It'll kind of just depend on that. Now, what that means by the V6 is you will be able to, on the content, borrow from members within the guild for completing the content, specifically like the guild bosses in the Gunm Smoke. And so having some V6 members, and I already know of some that have like a V6 Suomi that'll be joining. So we will have that, and then we'll have other members that'll probably V6 certain other units. I, for example, will have a Kluke and a Springfield in the future. Maybe someone will get a V6 Jianggu. We'll just kind of have to see from there. But there are some key units that you're going to really want to get and have people that have them. It doesn't have to be a full guild of it, just a couple key ones, which we are looking like we're going to have within the guild based on all the interest that I've gotten. And so we'll have that. And that should help us at least get to the 5% at some point. If we don't get it every time, it's not that big a deal. We'll kind of see the main reward I want to shoot for in the future. But we have that. Then we go down here. It kind of explains some unit support, unit kings in history. So we have QJ, Macchiato, V6, Clute K, and Springfield. Others that are used more important competitive included Papasha, which will eventually get Zahui, Parita, Vector, Andrus, Belka. So these are the units for the PvP. The V6 members are going to be quite important. So there may be points in the future where, say, someone becomes inactive and they get removed. I may keep that slot open to try and pull in a whale that has something that we're kind of missing from their group. We'll just kind of have to see how it works out. But for the overall majority of the main one, it will still just be the daily requirement. It won't be a hard requirement on being someone that actually is going to V6 units. It might just be that we try and get some select spots after we are full for maybe a future run at getting into that top area. And so we have that, and just kind of going more into detail on that. Roles, moderation kind of stuff. You'll have the guild leader. Might be able to make some vice leaders if I want to. I don't plan to make any vice leaders. I kind of want to control everything within the guild. And then you have the merit points for doing all your stuff. This is another thing I'll kind of look at that kind of shows how active a person is based on everything they're getting. Now, because there's points based on how far you can do within content, like if you can't kill the guild boss, how much damage you do to them and that kind of stuff, I don't expect everybody to be able to immediately just start completing all the content. You just need to actively be doing it to be considered active within my group here, because we're not going to be able to shoot for the top at the beginning. I mean, there's people that went insane that have, there's whale guilds with like V6 Suomi, V6 Allred, V6 probably QJ, and a bunch of others. So it'll be a little bit harder there. And in order to do the guild boss anyway, you need to be level 60, which I know a lot of people aren't, just blowing all of their crystals, getting the extra stamina to push to the higher levels. So we're not even going to be able to do that until we all start getting to 60, which is going to probably be like a month or two from now. And like here, it starts with 24 slots. Daily patrol, you get XP for doing that. Everybody within the guild should be doing this. That's part of the being daily active, is just go in, do that. Doesn't take long at all. It's just like any of the other daily content. But then you have the Gunm Smoke Frontline. So there are tickets for this. You get 2 a day. You can use your crystal currency, 50 of them, to get an extra ticket. From what I'm reading in here, I don't know if it says it here. Yeah, it says you can buy the additional 50 crystals. There's their own section on the Gunm Smoke Frontline, but what they say on it basically is if you're not trying to shoot for that top 1%, it's not completely mandatory to do that. It gets you extra XP and extra progress, but unless you're doing like the super whales, really trying to get that top 1%, I'm not going to have an expectation that people are doing this extra ticket every day of the Gunm Smoke. So not a big deal there, because I don't want people just using their poles to do that when it's not necessary. And this is the part that kind of threw me off, is that leveling is long. So right now, the top guilds are only getting level 8 in CN at this point. And at that point, so if they're saying that to get the max level of 20, which is where you have the cap raised all the way to 50, from what I understand, it's going to take years. And so this is why I'm kind of shifting to us needing to have sister guilds / platoons to ours, because I got a lot of interest and I'm not going to be able to get everybody into the main one. And I kind of just want to have the other ones having the same requirements of everybody needs to be active, doing everything. Because as long as you have an active guild, you can get all the rewards, like all the actual important stuff out of it anyway. So we'll kind of have to do that. I have a couple people in mind that I can plan to lead the other ones, and then we'll kind of keep that. But we'll slowly just be working our way up the levels to get more people in as we can. And then leveling is not just for slots. So one of the reasons you want to level 2 is you unlock certain things in the guild shop. Like one of them is going to be getting Papasha's weapon, getting a better daily guild chest, and you'll get extra buffs for the Gunm Smoke Frontline, which is that's the true like PvP of the guild. And then Guild War Shop. So this kind of goes into depth what you can get here. There's a daily chest from your daily patrols, level up milestones, the weekly reset shop. There's a permanent one-time shop. So there's certain things you're going to want. And if you actually look in here, I think it shows it. Yeah, here's I believe this one's the weekly one. And so this is where you start getting your Papa Shaw dupes. Now, if you remember, just like with Sabrina, you can get this one. You can get 5, while in Sabrina per month you can get 15. So with Papa Shaw, every week you'll be able to get 5 of her. You'll need 30 to get a single dupe. And so you're going to think that's going to take 6 weeks. We're going to get a free copy of her. You want 6 dupes. So it's going to take 36 weeks to max her out if you're buying the currency here every single week. Then you have some other little materials you can get in here. Then you have that's the weekly shop. So here's the permanent shop. And this one's a little bit different in that it has her weapon. And then you can get her weapon dupes here. Now this one is her purple weapon. And then she has her gold weapon, which you won't be able to get until you unlock it within the guild. So you'll have to go all the way through till we have that, get that weapon, and then we'll work our way up. But this one is the permanent shop, so you can get everything in here only one time. And so, yeah, like I said, once you purchase, it's gone. Now, I could see them always adding new things in the future here. So while you have these, it might go away. And then a year later, they just re-up some of the stuff in here. We'll kind of have to see how that works. But that's the permanent shop. This is the main place that you're going to basically get her weapon and be able to max dupe it here. And one of the big reasons we want to level up the guild as quickly as we can so we can get that weapon. Now on this section, I won't go too much into this. Everybody else, like I'm going to post this guide, the link to it in the description, so you can kind of look through it yourself on how all of the Gunm Smoke stuff works. But this is effectively where the boss is. Now we're not going to fight the boss right off the bat because we're not going to be level 60. You're going to need to be level 60 to fight him. So instead you're going to fight like underlings of him. So you're not going to get as many points from that, but you're going to want to do it when it's available, just so we can get those points towards the guild to move up in the ranking. And the main reason you want to move up in the ranking, even if you're a casual guild, is there are rewards based on where you place. And from everything I understand, as long as you're active, like my requirements are, you should be able to easily get the first one, which is the top 10%. And so we'll go down here. Okay, here's where it starts going into the rewards. So you have different resource rewards, point milestone rewards, platoon coins after runs, and your season ranking chest. And then there are vanity rewards. So these are just kind of cosmetics. For guilds number 1%, that's the super whales. That's who's got the bigger wallets guilds. And then there's the guild top 100 ranking. This one with our guild, I think will be possible in the future because I know a few of us are going to be whales ourselves on certain units. So as long as you have them for borrowing, this one might be a possibility. We'll kind of have to see where we kind of rank starting out, just where we are in terms of the top 100. Because right off the bat, it's going to probably be the most competitive it's ever going to be in the beginning. And then you have the top 10%. This one, from what I understand, we will be able to easily get because we're going to be active enough, because that's part of the requirements. We should easily get the top 10%. And what that gives you, which is listed down here, is there are these are, what do you call them? They're titles basically that you can get. Like you get the ones where you like get max relationship on units and that kind of stuff. So it's just basically a title that you get, or I think it's called a medal in this. And so there's 3 of them. Top 10% gets this yellow one here. If a top 100 guild, you get this red one. And then if you're the top 1% super whale guild, they get this title here. Now, we should easily be able to get that top percent, so everybody should get this title. In the beginning, I'm not shooting for these big ones. We'll just kind of see where we rate in the beginning, and then maybe we can push for a top 100 at some point. We'll just kind of have to see how it works out. I'm not too concerned. It's just a title. But the biggest thing is going to be the season ranking chest. And so you can see that the difference here is your platoon coins that you can get. And I don't know how much you're getting in terms of the platoon coins, but it looks like it's kind of hard to read here. Yeah, run platoon coins, rewards on, yep. Oh, that's just what the boss drops there. But it does say it's RNG and how many you're getting, but I'm going to guess the higher up you are, it's actually going to be significant. And those are what you're using to buy in those shops. So it'd be nice to get it. If we can get to the top 5%, that'd be great. But they say it's easily get the top 10%. And as you can see, the difference between them isn't enough to really be concerned anyway. at least on the crystals. And I think the poles are what are most important. So there's no concern on not getting top 5%. Heck, even if we didn't get the top 10%, we're still going to sit pretty fine there. The main reason just get the top 10% at least once is just for that title. And once you have the title, you have it. So that's what you can see with some people. They might want to join like a super whale one, get that 1% medal, and then you don't need to be in one anymore. You can always go more casual because once you have the medal, you have it. But we have that for now, and I think that's the main thing. All it's going to be required is just basically doing the guild boss when it becomes active. And you can kind of read through this. I will make a guide on this when I actually get to do it. I think it's a little bit harder just kind of reading this. If you want to read through this on how it all works, you can. Like I said, I'll have it in the description. But I'll actually make a full video on this whole system once it's actually available. But yeah, that is pretty much it. This is the main things of the Platoon. So there's nothing too crazy in it. The biggest thing is the shop to get your Papa Shaw dupes, your weapon dupes, and a little bit of materials there, as well as getting the poles. And so it's nothing too crazy. Don't worry about the PvP portion too much. It's just we want to make sure we're daily active. So the main thing is getting levels, because all this contributes to leveling up the guild as well. And the quicker we can level up the guild, the better. So, but yeah, I'll go ahead and call it here to keep it nice and short. If you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.